Fine, so it's very warm at the moment. It's going to stay very mild for the coming week. It's any sign of any cold weather coming in the near or medium or long term future. We'll have a look and see when perhaps some cold weather could arrive. Now, before I get on with that, I want to mention the advertising. There's video ads on my page at gazweathervids.com. The video ad here on my homepage, it's just above my weather video, and if you just play on the video app, you support gazweathervids.com, and thanks very much for doing that. So let's start off with the GFS temperature ensembles. Very warm tropical air wafting up across the country just at the moment. Remember, the red line is where we should be at this time of year. All members of the ensemble are above the red line at the moment. It's very warm in the upper atmosphere and it's very warm down on the surface. Now we're going to keep this these temperatures well above average for the next few days. As we get through to around the 26th, 27th, we're going to see the temperatures dropping down. They do drop a bit, going back towards the red line, so going back towards average. Not cold. I have to emphasise that. It's not going to be turning cold at the end of the week into the weekend, but it's going to be turning cooler. You will notice and feel the difference, but it's going to feel more like it should do. For this time of year, which is late October. Will feel more like late October by the weekend than the very sort of warm, muggy, humid feel, almost summery type feel that we've got just at the moment. And then for the rest of the ensemble, really, we hang around the red line throughout then. So there's no sign of anything particularly cold coming up. To get down to cold weather, we have to get down to -5 at 850 HPA. Not really much sign about a few stragglers here towards the latter stage of the ensemble. Do get a little bit colder, but basically through the end of October and start of November, we're going to be near normal in terms of temperatures. Notice still a lot of rainfall spikes there as well, so it's staying unsettled, I think, for the rest of October, possibly into the start of November as well. So cooler certainly for the weekend and into the start of next week, more nearer to where we should be at this time of year, but not cold. So let's have a look and see where we can find any cold weather excuse me, in the more immediate term. So, we're going to start off with 500 millibar height anomalies from the Beijing Climate Centre. These are broken down into 10-day periods, and what we're looking at for the first 10-day period is the latest 10-day period going from the 21st to the 30th of October, and it's sort of an indication of the kind of weather we've got at the moment. We've got these blue colours around to west of British Isles, so a big area of low pressure, below average height sitting in the Atlantic, stretching out in British Isles. Well, we've got above average height sitting to the east, indicated by those orange colours. So that's where the high pressure is, and down in the Azores, sort of area of the tropical Atlantic. So that's a very good representation of where we are at the moment, really, with the westerly winds, strong westerly winds blowing across the Atlantic, and the high pressure to the southeast and to the south, bringing up the warm air out of the Mediterranean and the tropical Atlantic at times. Now, as we move through to the next 10-day period, which will be taking us from the 31st of October to the 9th of November, well, then we see quite a significant change. We start to get some above average heights ridging in then across the country. It's coming in from the Atlantic, I think, and then setting up over and to the east of the British Isles. So basically the idea is that the high pressure to the southeast and in the tropical Atlantic is sort of getting together and building an area of high pressure across much of Europe through the first 10 days of November. That's still quite mild, I think. Perhaps a little bit cooler, could be some mist and fog, but generally it's still quite a mild scenario. But it is a lot drier. That will be turning things a good deal drier with the low pressure, the trough, being forced back further into the Atlantic. Still quite a strong jet stream though coming through there, so it would be we will be seeing some cloud and rain coming in off the Atlantic at times, but it's drier, I think, that 10-day period, but not particularly cold. As we go through to the next 10-day period, which is going to be taking us, if it clicks over, it's very slow clicking over, there we go, to the 10th to the 19th of November. And again, the 500 millibar heights are showing that we've got a lot of anticyclonic sort of influences, a lot of red and a lot of orange colours, I should say, in the Atlantic, and again sitting to the east of the country. So again, sort of the idea is that high pressure is probably quite dominant through that middle 10-day period of November, and by now it will be starting to turn cooler, I think, and about high pressure. It will be starting to turn quite a bit cold. I wouldn't say it's particularly cold, but probably cooler with that high pressure, keeping it largely settled and probably the chance of increasing amounts of frost. But then as we get through to the next 10-day period, which takes us from the 20th to the 29th, this is quite interesting because then we've got high pressure setting up more as a northern blocking sort of feature around Iceland and going to the north of Scotland into Scandinavia during that final 10 days of November. Notice the blue colours also running to the south of the country, going into Spain and Portugal, and the Mediterranean going on there. That is indicative of a southerly tracking jet stream. So the jet stream is starting to move south, the high pressure is ridging to the north, and with that you would be starting to expect some northerly and northeasterly winds to start pushing in during the final 10 days of November. Now this is a long way off, so don't take it too seriously, but if that's right, it is an indication, I think. But as we get through to the last week to 10 days of November, that's when some proper cold air could be starting to arrive. That's the Beijing Climate Centre. Let's have a look at the CFS model from the United States. This is from website weatherweb.net. This is a city temperature forecast for Birmingham. And by the way, you can find the link to WeatherWeb on my links page. Well, we're pretty warm at the moment, as we know. Temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper teens for the next few days, and they're not really going to start to drop until we get to around the 25th, 26th November, and we're only dropping down towards average. We saw that on the GFS temperature ensemble. So sort of average temperatures at the end of October going into the start of November. Actually, we showed a bit of a pickup for the start of November, but then as we get through to around, say, the 6th or 7th, we get a bit of a drop off. We go back towards the average, which is around 10 or 11 degrees, I think, for the start of November, so it does cool off again early November. But then as we get through to the middle of November, seeing quite a big drop in temperature then. As we get to around, say, the 15th, 16th of November, it becomes really quite cold, and we keep those cold conditions going for quite a few days, actually, going out, say, around the 25th of November. So that could be a 10-day period, 7 to 10-day period of really quite cold weather, and within that period, definitely the risk of frost, most certainly. There we go, we're dropping down below freezing in Birmingham City as well, so in rural localities it would be warmer than that. For the start of December, it sees a little bit of a pickup again. Actually, temperatures do pick up and recover, so that's not the start of winter. We probably warm up again as we get through to the very end of November and the start of December, but nevertheless it is seeing quite a big drop around the middle of November, and that could tie in quite nicely with what we're just looking at from the Beijing Climate Centre. Let's very quickly have a look at the temperatures for the next next few weeks from the CFS model. This is a week ending the 10th of November, and it's about average, about where we should be. Temperatures from around 7, range from around 7 degrees in Scotland to around 13 or 14 degrees along the south coast. That's about right for the early part of November. But the next period, going through to the 17th of November, the next week, then we start to see that colder air coming in. So temperatures then are ranging from around 7 or 8 degrees to around 4 or 3 degrees. So it turns significantly colder through that middle week of November. The next week turns even colder, going through to the 24th of November, the weekend of 24th of November. Then we're struggling to get above freezing. These are maximum temperatures, and yes, we're struggling to get above freezing across many parts of the country, just up to 2 or 3 degrees. Would be cold enough for snow if there was precipitation. That's the key thing, of course. To get snow, you've got to have precipitation. Very often in this country, when it's cold, the air is dry, so that's why snow is quite rare. But certainly the temperatures there are cold enough for snow. It just depends whether we would get precipitation. But as I say, that's not the start of winter, because as we go through to the weekend of the 1st of December, temperatures then start to pick up again, going back towards 7 or 8 degrees. And we stay mild then through that first week of December, going from around 5 to 10 degrees, certainly a much milder start to December. But mid-December, this is the weekend of the 15th of December, the cold air comes back again, significant drop in temperature again, weekend in the 15th of December. We're barely getting above freezing with those maximum temperatures. But next week, going up to the 22nd of December, and we're staying around freezing all day, so that's a very cold week, actually, the week from the 15th to the 22nd of December. If that looks right, what CFS model is shown there. Really cold in that middle week of December. And finally, do you want to have a look at Christmas and see what it's showing for the week going through Christmas? This is the week ending the 28th of December, and the temperatures lift up a little bit. It's not particularly warm, but the temperatures are lifting up from that very cold week before, ranging from around 3 to 7 degrees. Remember, that's the week ending the 28th of December. So through that weekly period, we're shifting from very cold in the middle of December to somewhat milder by the 28th of December. So right over that Christmas period, we're transitioning. Transitioning periods are always periods that can give snow, so it would very much depend on the exact day that the transition happens. But on the basis of that, there is the threat around the Christmas period of some snow. But don't go running away with the idea it's definitely going to snow for Christmas, whatever you do. These are very experimental models, and it's just a little bit of a heads up of where these long-range models are trending. So in terms of getting some cold weather, well, we're going to see a drop-off in temperature. The very warm air that we've got at the moment is going to last until the weekend, and then we'll drop back towards average. But we don't get anything significantly cold, I don't think, until around the middle of November. And around the middle of November, I think we could have a week, maybe 10 days, of quite cold weather, some really quite cold weather then, perhaps recovering then as we go to the very end of November, the start of December, becoming milder again. So winter is not starting with that cold weather in the middle of November. We will get a recovery in the temperatures. And then another very significant cold spell possible. I'll just say possible, in the middle of December, possibly leading up to Christmas. All very speculative, don't take it too seriously, but I found it interesting. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.